Upon a time, in the magical kingdom of Arendelle, nestled among snow-capped mountains and frost-laden trees, Queen Elsa lived in a grand ice palace. Elsa was no ordinary queen. She was the Ice Queen, gifted with the magic to create snow and ice. One bright spring morning, after a swift shower had washed over Arendelle, a brilliant rainbow painted the sky. It stretched from one end of the kingdom to the other, bathing Arendelle in an array of vibrant colors. As the people looked up in wonder, a sparkling figure descended from the rainbow's end. The figure revealed itself to be a majestic unicorn, its coat as white as fresh snow, and its mane shimmered like icicles under the sun. It had large, gentle eyes that twinkled like stars, capturing the fascination of everyone who saw it. The children of Arendelle were especially thrilled, for they had never seen such a creature before.
Elsa and the Frozen Kingdom's Secret. Deep in the heart of Arendelle, Queen Elsa stood at the grand balcony of her palace, watching the snowflakes dance in the crisp morning air. Next to her, her husband, Prince Aidan, smiled as he wrapped a warm blue cape around her shoulders. "I love the snow," Aidan said. "But don't you think it's been snowing a little too much lately?" Elsa laughed. "I promise, it's not me this time." Just then, a strong gust of icy wind swirled through the palace courtyard. The snow on the rooftops trembled, and the lake near the castle began to freeze over rapidly. Even Elsa, with all her powers, felt a strange chill in the air. Aidan raised an eyebrow. "If it's not you, then who?" Determined to find the answer, Elsa and Aidan set out beyond the palace gates, following the whispering winds that carried a song only Elsa could hear. It was a melody, soft yet powerful, calling her toward the enchanted forest. As they reached the edge of the towering trees, a shimmering light appeared before Thema Snow Spirit, glowing with icy blue energy. The spirit flickered and swirled around them, forming patterns in the air. Elsa reached out her hand. "You need help, don't you?" The spirit twisted and spun until letters formed in the frost on the ground. "The Frost King has awakened." Elsa and Aidan exchanged glances. The Frost King was only a legend, an ancient ruler said, to control the cold long before Elsa was born. If he had truly awakened, then winter would never end. Without hesitation, the couple followed the spirit deep into the forest, where they discovered a hidden ice palace buried beneath layers of frost. Inside, on a throne made of the thickest ice, sat a tall figure with piercing blue eyes. His presence made the entire room grow colder. "You are the Queen of Ice, yet you have forgotten the balance," the Frost King said in a deep, rumbling voice. "Winter has grown restless." Elsa stepped forward. "I never meant to upset the balance." The Frost King gazed at her, then at Aidan. "Winter is not just about snow and ice, but about change and renewal. You have mastered the cold, Elsa, but do you understand when to let it go?" Elsa closed her eyes. She thought about Arendelle, about her people longing for spring, about how nature thrived in warmth as much as in cold. With a deep breath, she raised her hands and for the first time willed the snow to slow. The wind softened. The icicles that hung from the palace ceiling melted into sparkling water. The sky outside, once gray, began to glow with hints of golden sunlight. The Frost King smiled. "You are ready." With a final swirl of mist, he disappeared, leaving behind only a single snowflake that twinkled in Elsa's palm. Aidan took her hand and grinned. "I think you just saved winter and spring." As they returned home, the first flowers of the season began to bloom, a promise that the magic of Arendelle would always remain in harmony. And from that day on, Elsa and Aidan ruled together, not just as the queen and her husband, but as guardians of the changing seasons.
Cinderella's story. Once upon a time, there was a kind girl named Cinderella. All of the animals loved her, especially two mice named Gus and Jacques. They'd do anything for the girl they called Cinderella. Cinderella lived with her stepmother and her two stepsisters, Anastasia and Drizella. They were very mean to Cinderella, making her work all day cleaning, sewing, and cooking. She tried her best to make them happy. Cinderella's stepmother, Lady Tremaine, was cold, cruel, and jealous of Cinderella's charm and beauty. She enjoyed giving Cinderella extra chores to do, such as bathing her cat Lucifer. One day, a messenger arrived with a special invitation. There was going to be a royal ball at the palace. The king wanted his son to find a bride. Every young woman in the kingdom was invited, including Cinderella. Cinderella was very excited about the ball. In the attic, she found a dress that had belonged to her mother. It was a bit old-fashioned, but Cinderella could make it beautiful. Lady Tremaine didn't want Cinderella to go to the ball. She wanted the prince to meet Anastasia and Drizella. Maybe he would marry one of them. Lady Tremaine kept Cinderella busy with chores that would take her all night to finish. While Cinderella was working, the mice and birds fixed her dress. They added ribbons and beads that the two stepsisters had thrown away. Working together, the animals turned a simple dress into a fabulous gown. Cinderella was overjoyed when she saw the dress. Now she could go to the ball. "Oh, thank you so much," Cinderella said to Gus, Jacques, and the birds. When the stepsisters saw their old ribbons and beads on Cinderella's dress, they flew into a rage. They ripped the dress and pulled off the beads. Lady Tremaine didn't stop them. Cinderella's dream of going to the ball was through. Cinderella ran away to the garden to cry. Suddenly, her fairy godmother appeared. With a wave of her wand, she turned a pumpkin into an elegant coach. Cinderella could now go to the ball, but her dress was still ruined. "Bibbidi-bobbidi-boo," said the fairy godmother, waving her wand again. Cinderella was now wearing a beautiful gown and sparkling glass slippers. But all of this came with a warning. When the clock struck midnight, the magic spell would wear off. At the ball, Prince Charming couldn't take his eyes off Cinderella. The orchestra played, and the prince began to dance with the wonderful girl whose name he still didn't know. For Cinderella, the night was a dream come true. Before too long, the clock began to strike midnight. "Goodbye," Cinderella said, hurrying away. "Come back," called the prince. "I don't even know your name." As Cinderella fled, one of her glass slippers came off. The prince sent the Grand Duke to find the girl who fit the glass slipper. Lady Tremaine locked Cinderella in the attic. But Cinderella's mouse friends freed her. Then, Lady Tremaine tripped the Grand Duke, and the glass slipper shattered. But Cinderella had the other in her pocket, and it fit. Cinderella and the prince were soon married. Everyone rejoiced, including Cinderella's mouse friends, who wore special outfits to the wedding. Filled with joy, Prince Charming and Cinderella lived happily ever after. The end.